Thanks for coming. I'm Simi Denson, and I own PrimaVita Surrogacy along with Tiffany Finley and Amanda Smith. I'm also, as you guys probably heard, I'm an attorney. I work here in town. I represent IPs and surrogates. My IPs I represent are all over the world. Quite a few, of course, here in Texas, but really just about anywhere you can think of. I've probably had a client there. We are very, very lucky in Texas. In case you're not going to be one of the 5 people that comes to my legal talk at 5:30, we have really, really strong, great surrogacy laws here in Texas. If you are a married couple, it's super, super easy. You will enter into a contract with your surrogate before she gets pregnant. During the pregnancy, we'll get a pre-birth order, which involves you signing an affidavit saying that, yes, we did all the steps we were supposed to. And then I or your attorney would take that to court, get it signed. The order directs the hospital to fill out the birth record with your names, and your names go directly on the birth certificate. The baby's yours. If you are single or unmarried, it's the same process. It just happens to be outside the way our statute is written. However, we have friendly judges who will still sign a pre-birth order, so you would still go directly on the birth certificate, and then the second parent's name would be blank. It is important, if you don't work with me, that you work with a Texas lawyer. If you have a Texas surrogate, if your baby is born in Texas, you need a Texas lawyer. It's important that you work with somebody who does this all the time, because we do still have some backwards judges that are not going to play nice and do the things that you want them to do. So just make sure you know who you're working with and that they know where they're going to take this, so the judges will be nice to you. PrimaVita Surrogacy grew from my practice. First, we started matching some people within the law practice because my clients were asking me for it. And I was really resistant to opening an agency, like really, really resistant, because what I heard from clients again and again was that it wasn't worth it. They weren't getting value from their agencies. And I didn't want to contribute to that problem. And I didn't want to charge people for something and not give them back a lot of value for it. So after a lot of resistance and talking with Tiffany and Amanda, we came up with a model that we felt like better served people. And we listened to the complaints that people had and tried to come up with a service that addressed those complaints. And the primary one was, my agency was really, really great in the beginning, and they introduced me to my surrogate, and she was fantastic, and I loved her. And then she got pregnant, and we were fine, and the agency kind of disappeared, and that was okay, but I paid like $10,000 for that, and I don't understand what they did for me from the beginning part to the end. And so we listened to that, and we came up with a level of service that is matching people and getting you through legal contracts. And the idea is, if we've done our job and created a good, strong relationship by that point, then you're equipped to go forward independently. And you don't need us holding your hand every step of the way, because you already have great communication with your surrogate. She's already part of your family. You're getting through this. She knows what she's doing. You guys feel comfortable with what you're doing. On the other hand, if you feel like you want the agency to be there and supporting you the whole time, we offer that too. And we have, if you did that, we have a dedicated support person who's checking in with your surrogate, checking in with you, making sure all that communication is great. And we do have people who opt to do that because they just feel better about it, which is cool, and we are totally happy to do it. But we don't want to charge you for a service that you don't feel like you need or that you don't think there's value in it. So that's kind of where we come from philosophically. I think
something else that we do that I think can differ some from other agencies is how we match. We're very interested in the relationship that you will have with your surrogate. We want everyone to want the same things out of their journey. So we start out with having you fill out a very detailed questionnaire. It's like a dating questionnaire. It asks things that aren't related to surrogacy. What are your hobbies? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? These kind of things. Our surrogates fill out something very similar. It also covers very surrogate intensive questions as well. You know, any deal breakers, what you're looking for throughout, all that kind of stuff. And we try to personally match you with someone. We don't just have a bunch of surrogates that we're like, okay, here, take them all, figure it out, you know, see what you want. We really try to make sure that what you're looking for and what they're looking for all matches. And you know that from the beginning, even before you meet them, because we'll let you see that profile so you'll be able to know who you're going to be meeting.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really important thing, no matter who you're matching with through this agency or independently or whatever else. Your relationship is by far the most important thing in this whole process. Because if you find the right person, everything is going to go smoothly. If you are forcing a relationship or you think that your contract is going to fix the questions that you have about whether she will be healthy during the pregnancy, like if you think that adding in 15 foods that she shouldn't eat when she's pregnant to the contract is going to make you feel better, it's probably not a fantastic match. Like, these are conversations you should be able to have, and you should have a level of implicit trust, because I can't fix it in a contract. Like, I really believe in contracts and the legal system, but I can't fix everything just by putting it in a contract, because she could breach the contract, really, when it comes down to it. You have to trust her with your life, because that is, and she has to trust you with her life. It goes both ways.
Yeah, the trust goes both ways. It's fast forward dating to marriage to having a baby together, you know. And within that process, though, it is a very strong bond that you build together to move forward. So it does happen, and I tell intended parents this all the time. Like, it's a stranger, and I get that. I know. But you should have like that gut feeling when you're meeting with someone and you're wanting to move forward. And it does build very quickly. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and I do think the other thing that we do use the dating analogy a lot, but the same way that when you met your partner, you felt a spark and you felt like they were the one, you need that feeling with your carrier. Like, it's an intense relationship that you need to build. And I really feel, just philosophically, that babies should come from loving relationships. Like, babies grow best when everybody loves them. And that means your carrier too. And it means that you love your carrier loves the baby, you love the baby, everybody, all the love. And it makes the baby healthier. Like, I really think it's not just like crazy hippie science.
For everyone. I think everyone would agree with that. You know, you won't go the opposite way with that. And I think it's very true. Yeah, it makes it easier for everyone involved, and a very pleasant, fun, lasting memory, and it's happy.
So there are some questions about like where we get surrogates from and how does that work. And we have all been carriers ourselves, and we have other people who work at the agency who have also been carriers, also people who have been intended parents. We are deep in this community, and you probably don't realize that there is a surrogacy community in Texas, but there is, and it's rich. There are hundreds of women that we know really well as friends who have done this before. The Texas Surrogacy group on Facebook is a really good resource. If you're not there already, join the Facebook page and just start reading, and you'll learn a lot. So when we are looking to match, the first place we look is our friends, and we mine that community for all it's worth. And so if we look at your profile and we immediately think of Amanda, not really her because she's not on the market, but if we thought of Amanda, then we would say, hey, Amanda, look at this profile. It looks really great. What do you think? And then we would move forward from there. If we don't think of someone immediately, that's okay too, because we will recruit specifically for you, and we'll start looking in the world of young mothers that's out there and find somebody who's really great who wants the same thing as you, whether that's I know that it's been a really big topic today, the double or single embryo transfer question. Like, is it somebody who's going to be willing to carry twins, or is it somebody who, some of our surrogates want to use a midwife in the hospital, or some of them wanted to deliver outside of the hospital, which is something I did myself, and I'm all for, but you might not be, and it's okay. But we can figure out where your matches are. But we spend a lot of time doing that, and we don't churn people through our program. Like, we really take the time to get to know you, and we take the time to get to know our surrogates, and we feel very strongly about earning the trust from every party. We don't ever want to force a match together that's not something we feel completely confident in.
Surrogates that come to us, we turn away probably at least 90% of them that don't fit our criteria and what we think they should be. For our clients, we want to make sure that we are using everyone that, is the best and the best for our clients, that they will meet the requirements of your clinic and hopefully even over that.
And we're really lucky that we have that choice, because I've been in this practice, I've been licensed for about 15 years as an attorney, and I've been doing this for about 9 of that. And I started doing it when I decided to be a carrier myself.
My first surrogacy was almost 12 years ago now.
Yeah, so a long time. And we are really trusted in the community. We are really lucky to have that trust and to have people come to us and see us as leaders and see us as people who can answer questions and who won't treat them badly. So we're lucky and we take that really seriously, and we love our clients. We love the people we work with. We have 2 men having babies clients right now who are pregnant that we met in Dallas a couple years ago. So,
yeah,
we've been lucky to work with this organization too. And
does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So during your matching process, are the intended parents given like one option, or
It depends. Yeah, so if we had more than one that we think would be a good fit for you, I would definitely show you how many, 1, 2, 3, whatever we have. If there just wasn't a whole lot of options out there, we'll just show you the one. It depends on what we have, but we're not reserving everyone and just like doling out one at a time. But if we have more than one that will fit with you, we'll show you 2 or more, how many ever there are. Yeah.
What's your screening process like for intended parents and for surrogates?
Yeah, for intended parents, so we definitely talk to everyone that signs up with us. We talk to them multiple times, lots of emails, tons of stuff. We of course do background checks. We have of course, the medical criteria. It all has to meet standards, and depending on what clinic you're using, we know what they're looking for in a surrogate as well. What might be okay with one clinic won't be okay with another. If we ever have, excuse me, if we ever have any questions about it, we'll always call the nurse at your clinic and talk to her before we talk to you about any surrogate. I need to get
That's okay. And so I would say in general, when surrogates apply with us, we look at their answers. Like she said, we get rid of about 90% of people right off the bat just because there's something in their written responses that is a deal breaker for us and we won't move forward. After they've passed that initial screen and they've filled out their profiles, then we do a complete medical history review and make sure there's nothing in her medical history that would disqualify her in general. And Amanda is usually the person that has a really thorough discussion with her on the phone to make sure she understands the process and what she's getting into, and that her motivations are what we would expect, and that she's somebody that we would want to work with. We do not do a medical screen or a psychological evaluation at that stage because we tailor those to your specific match. So once you matched with somebody, we would work with your clinic to have her medically screened to make sure she meets their specific requirements. We also do the psychological screens at that point because we have the same psychologist meet with. What usually happens is there's a evaluation of the surrogate and her husband or partner, and then of you and your partner, and then all of you together. And that's usually required by the clinic, and so we like to wait so we can do it at that point. Also, there's questions at those evaluations that are going to relate to your match specifically. They're going to want to talk to them about termination. When do you feel comfortable aborting this very wanted pregnancy? What circumstances would you be willing to do that? And that's something that is very specific to your match, so it's important that that happens at that stage.
Going to screening from an IP's perspective, if we say we give someone say, oh, we were really excited, Mark and I, and it was like we did a home visit, and then once we got there, it was like, well, maybe that was not the best decision based on our gut feeling for that.
Yeah, then you start over. Then it's fine.
Yeah.
So even at our lower level of service, the more minimal one, it's called foundation program. But even with the foundation program, we're guaranteeing that you get through legal contracts. If you do the full program, we're guaranteeing you get to a pregnancy, basically. Like, we'll keep on matching you until you get there. Even if you did the foundation program and you got through contracts and you had a failed transfer to and you wanted to start over, you could just upgrade to the other one, and we'd make sure we'd keep on matching you
We want to make sure that it's a happy match. So if you decide, oh wait, I'm not feeling this, okay, cool. Like, it's fine. We'll start over. We will find someone else. No problem.
Yeah. But I can tell you, like, from our experience, we have a really good batting average. I can't make a sports metaphor, so I shouldn't try, but we have a lot of success just in our initial.
Yes. And I think it helps because we show the profiles first, and it's really detailed on what everyone wants. So there's no questions there with deal breakers at all. We know where everyone stands right from the beginning. So really it's just a gut when you're meeting someone at that point, and usually it's fine. Usually we're right on. I'm trying to think in the last, I can think of one maybe where it wasn't great. But that's pretty good, you know. And if it's not, then that's fine. Then we'll go.
Yeah,
we'll
and we're happy to keep on looking as much as we need to.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt us any. It's better because it's a lot easier for us to do that now than if you stayed with someone that you're not getting along with and having to try to Band-Aid that along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the cost difference between the levels?
It's $9,000 for the foundation and $15,000 for the premier, which is the
Mhm.
full.
Yeah. Anything else?
What's the average weight?
So first, that depends on a couple things. If you're looking for very specific things, it's going to take a little longer to find your match. I'm saying from about 8 to 12 weeks right now. But we did just have someone sign on, and we happened to have a surrogate that was perfect for them like 2 days later. So
Yeah, there's a
You know?
significant outlier problem
yeah,
on either side.
Yeah, so I don't want to tell people, 4 weeks and then, it's so much longer. But it could be sooner, but I would plan on longer.
Yeah, I would say, I'm trying to think what our outliers are on the other side. Like we have a single father who we had a hard time matching for a while.
Yeah.
And he was, you have 2 days on one side and you have
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah, I think
About?
it was 4 months.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's like your
And he
two
was looking for
extremes.
someone that would carry twins, and so he had some specific ones, and so it took a little longer.
It's easier to match as a couple, just frankly,
Yeah.
since I think you're all couples in here right now. Like it's just, when most surrogates want to do this, they want to create a family, and their vision of a family is 2 adults and 1 or more children. Like that's what they're thinking of. And that's what surrogates want. They want, the moment that they want is to see you with your baby.
That's
they,
the itch. That's why we want to do
Yeah.
it. It's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
What is we're from Seattle, so we're looking at a clinic maybe possibly in Oregon, California. What's your surrogacy network as far as?
We work with clinics everywhere. So.
The surrogacy part of finding a surrogate in Oregon.
Oh, yeah. So most of our surrogates are in Texas. We do work with other states, and we could, if you came to us and say, hey, I want someone in this specific place, we can definitely, it's possible for us to look there, definitely.
But don't rule out Texas, because
Yes.
Texas is really great
And-
for lots of reasons.
And so your surrogate, if you have a long distance clinic, she only has to go there twice. Usually, sometimes even once. I got away with once. But and then they monitor locally, so they don't have to be traveling. So there are lots of different ways that it's done.
And really, my plug for Texas is legal. I already told you,
Yes.
like we have really great laws. Costs, I can tell you, my fee as an attorney for your start to end is $3,500. If you go to California, it's going to cost you $12,000 for the same thing. And then that also for medical costs, it's the same thing. We're just lower in Texas for whatever reason. We just are terrible business people here. So it just costs less here. And we have fantastic medical facilities. Houston is one of the medical centers
Yes.
of the world. So, you have all those resources, and you have many, many, many women here of childbearing age who feel called
Okay.
to do this work and to help build families.